Hey everyone, Jason here. Earlier this week, I posted, the more I get out and speak to people, the more I realize we are all busier than ever. Do you ever look back on the year and regret time spent on things that didn't really matter? If that hit home, stick around because in this video, I'm going to share a framework that helps you stay focused on what really matters in your business. Okay, so first, where is this all coming from? What I used to do in my yearly reviews is look back and try to think through what actually made a difference. I'd start at like the top one or two things that were major and then backtrack through all the work it took to get there. What I found is that a lot of what I thought was important was forgotten in a matter of weeks. You know, that urgent task, that urgent email, that big meeting, it didn't materialize into results like I thought it would. So I figured there's got to be a better way. And one day in an operations class for my MBA, it finally hit me. So in this MBA operations class, we were analyzing assembly line throughput, all the classic metrics on cycle time, bottlenecks, and flow of processes, and two things came together for me which led to the solution I'm going to talk about later. First, having an intense focus on your unique value proposition in whatever you do. It might be for you, your team, your business segment, your business unit, or your entire business. In all cases, you have a set of core processes where you're taking inputs, applying your unique improvements to those inputs, and creating that special output product that your customers or stakeholders need and will pay for. It's why businesses pay you a salary. It's why customers pay for your products. The second thing that hit me is that these same operations principles aren't limited to an actual factory floor. You can apply the exact same thinking to an entire company or any subdivision to align everything and instantly see what deserves priority. So this is what led me to create what I call the factory business model. The factory business model is a framework that you can use to align your processes, inputs, outputs, and more to ensure you're focusing on the right things. Why I love it is because it forces you to define the core processes that directly contribute to your unique value proposition. In doing that, you link all the important parts, tasks, and work needed that directly contributes to your unique value. This ultimately shows clearly how they all work together. And what this does is create a kind of map or list of all the parts of the process that should take priority throughout the year. Everything you do either directly supports the core process or it doesn't. When you reframe your time this way, the most important work becomes obvious. The extra stuff that doesn't contribute to a core process, it gets deprioritized. So why does this all matter? Why is this important? It sounds like just another fancy framework that looks great but isn't that useful. So here's the key thing. Unique value proposition is critical because it defines why people choose to buy from you or work with you. What do you bring to the table that is different and better than most others out there? We all have these mundane tasks that we have to do, but which ones do we really excel at? For a product, what about it makes a customer want to pick it up and buy it compared to another one? These are the things that really move the needle, and we happen to call it a unique value proposition. It's what you bring to the table that's special. It's what your company does that attracts customers over the competition. It's what makes your team stand out and overachieve throughout the year. So for example, think about an iPhone. Why do people buy iPhones? The design, the functions, the apps, all of that. At the heart of that is a core process where they're taking generic inputs, applying their unique design, software, and support system, and turning it into a product that is special and that people love. People are willing to pay more for an iPhone because of the unique value they bring to the table. Spending time on that cannot be a waste. Another example of this, imagine a person in logistics. They have inputs that are packages, shipping information, warehouse locations, and more. They apply their unique skills to combine these inputs into outputs, which are products shipped on time, every time. Almost anything you can think of has this set of inputs, core processes, and outputs. And that's really what's at the heart of the factory business model, connecting the unique value that you bring to the table to the processes that enable it. When you do that, you can easily prioritize what matters and what doesn't. So the next time you have a decision to make, think about this factory business model approach. Which task contributes to the core processes? Which tasks strengthen your unique value proposition? Because remember, people act on strong, unique value proposition. It's what moves the needle and makes progress happen. It's what makes them buy your product over another. It's what gets people picking up the phone to call you instead of someone else. When you do this right and fully map out your factory business model, prioritizing work becomes automatic. It becomes clear what should take priority, which task is a need to have, and which is a nice to have. After doing this, when you look back on the year, you'll find much less of your work has been wasted, because if a majority went towards your core processes and your unique value propositions, it can't be a waste. Even if you tried things and failed, that's still strengthening your unique value proposition because you found a way that didn't work, and you can use that next time to be better. If this is clicking for you and you want more information, you can find the full 7-step system in my book, Business Operations Unlocked. This book takes you step by step, applying the factory business model and much more. It starts in step 1 by mapping cost drivers and defining your factory business model. Step 2 covers deploying data gathering technology, data management, and data automation systems to set a foundation to build from. Step 3 turns data into decisions, covering techniques to analyze performance, make better predictions and projections. Step 4 transitions into optimizing processes to improve workflow and quality. In step 5, we focus on implementing the change and improvements internally to the company. In step 6, we focus on how to extend the change and improvements to external partners and systems. And then finally, in step 7, we create a system to implement and track the entire process going forward to ensure we hit targets or pivot where needed. So I know it sounds a little bit ambiguous and too good to be true. Just focus on the unique value proposition and everything will be great. How does that actually work? How does that actually apply to the work that we're doing throughout the year? Well, I go into a lot more detail on this in the book, but as a general example, you kind of got to focus on what it is you're trying to achieve throughout the year and then adapt the factory business model to that. So, find the 1 or 2 big goals and targets that you're trying to hit for the year, and then look at the core processes, look at the inputs, the outputs that go along with that, and then analyze, what is my special value that I can bring to this to really push it over the top and make things, outstanding. That's really kind of the way that you want to actually apply it when you're doing the work is, understand the key concepts of the factory business model and then adapt them to whatever it is you're trying to do. And it can be several things. It could be at a company level, it could be for specific goals and targets, but kind of just whatever you're doing, if you apply this framework to it, it will streamline everything and it'll make those connections for you so that you don't have to worry about wasting time or, you're not prioritizing things in the right manner. So if you want to check out the book, it's available now on Amazon. I've got a link in the comments and in the post so that you can click on it and check it out. Thanks for watching.